Hi guys, Eugene here with a home gym hacker. I got a fun one for you today. So I recently got this GetRx'd single pulley cable tower. And one of my main peeves with it is that this trolley, pretty hard to move up. There is quite a bit of friction and the thing is just quite heavy. And this isn't even a tornado arm version. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could just do this like so with one hand? Now, and their CEO even recently put out a video showing proper technique to move your tornado arm up and down.
M'appelle.
Which is basically doing a clean and a jerk. And of course, like any good CEO, instead of acknowledging and addressing the main complaint about your product, they decide to double down. Now, what I'm talking about is their soon-to-be-released Phoenix Tower, which features not just one, but two tornado arms attached to a single trolley. And in fact, I have a message here from the CEO of GetRx'd.
That's right. He put two tornado arms in one trolley. And for the next version, we're going to put 4 of them. Because Goro and Kentaro from Mortal Kombat are very important customers of ours. That's right. You can go suck it, fucking pansies.
Now, to address some of these complaints, they attempted to modify the design of the trolley a little bit and added some rollers. What the system really needs is the same thing that a lot of commercial systems do, and that's a counterweight. Now, in a lot of commercial systems, they'll hide the counterweight inside the actual upright. However, in the home gym, we all like to have our holes in the sides so we can put various attachments on the uprights. So hiding the counterweight inside of the upright isn't really an option for a lot of us. But that doesn't mean we can't design something ourselves. All right, so let's see what we've got to work with here. So here's our upright, and one convenient thing already is we have some additional holes here. So we can potentially attach another cable and pull it up, loop it somewhere around the top there, and have some kind of a weight pulling down to create some upward force on this trolley. And as we look at this system, I think we can put a larger bolt through this pulley and attach another pulley on the upside, make a little proof of concept. So let's see how that goes. Got the washer. Probably untension the cable more, make my life easier. Not that smart. All right, so we got this bolt out of here. Now let's get our longer bolt in there. Victory. Got this little plastic spacer thingy. Just I think we need a little bit more space between our new pulley here so that we're able to clear this hunk of metal here. Use this little plastic spacer. And then let's put on our new pulley. Boom. Beautiful. All right. Okay, now I've got some of these random cables lying around, so we're just gonna rig this up really quick and just see how it goes. Need my step stool for this one. Maybe the cable is just rigid enough for me to get it. Okay, so here's the basic pulley. I'm gonna tighten this here so we can hold some weight in this. We'll just see just how much weight do we have to add. Okie dokie. So for our first experiment, got a 10-pound plate here with a soft strap on it. We're just gonna hook it up to this cable. And obviously it's gonna interact with these cables here, but this is just to test things out. So let's see what happens. So let's move it down. Moves down real Easy. And let's see what happens if I move it up. Well, I can kind of do it with one hand now. I think it actually needs more weight. So 10 pounds, it's not enough, although it does move up quite a bit easier than before now. Okay, now we've got an extra 5-pound plate on here, so now we have 15 pounds in our counterweight. Let's see how that feels. And look at that. Now it's moving like butter. So 15 pounds, seems like that's about the right amount of weight for this system. Obviously, if you have a heavier system, you need a little more. Of course, we can't just use it like this. You know, this is gonna interact with this pulley here, and it's gonna potentially swing around and cause all kinds of problems. So what we really need is to set this up on some kind of a trolley or a guide rail. So let's go back to the drawing board. Now, unfortunately, our parts department seems to be all out of spare uprights and guide rods. So we're gonna have to get creative. But what we do seem to have an abundance of is cables. We have lots and lots of cables. So I think what we can do is get creative, and instead of having guide rods, I think we can set up some guide cables. All right, guys, so here's the big brain moment. So I found this cable here, which has these bolts on it that has holes in them. Now, these are, I think, designed for some kind of a pulley system, and these are initially used to tension the system. But now we're gonna do something much more creative with them. I also found this thing. Actually, this was like a landmine attachment that I never used, so I just chopped it off because I just wanted this bar with all kinds of holes on it. So check this out. We're gonna put that there and put the nut on and tighten it all the way. The same thing with the other one. And there is going to be our trolley system. So if you're not able to use your imagination, now imagine these two cables rigged up under tension, and then we're going to attach a loading pin, something like that, in the middle here that's connected to another cable, and this is what will keep our counterbalance from swinging back and forth and potentially hitting our stack or anything else we don't want. So all we have to do is rig up these cables under tension, and now we don't have to spend any additional money on buying something like guardrails in a trolley or more uprights with a trolley. And yeah, basically it's zero cost engineering, baby. Alrighty, so now we need something to rig our cables on that's gonna be pretty sturdy. So I found these 1-inch rods somewhere in the parts bin. I'm gonna put one through the bottom there and one through the top, and that's what we can string the cables between, as well as set up our pulley and the tension cables that we're going to use as our guide system. So let's put this through here. Yep. I mean, it's a little long, but we can work those details up later. And cool. I think that'll work well. Just so you guys see what I'm doing here. Just kind of wound this cable around there for now. I'll figure out a better way to affix it there. Okay, and then I'm gonna try and... Okay, I think I'm just gonna use some zip ties for now to keep the cables in place up top. Alrighty, well, it's not great, but again, it's a prototype, so we'll see how it does under tension, but good enough for government work for now. Okay, here is our slightly ghetto, nonetheless functioning. Maybe a little rough system, but I think with a little bit of weight on it, maybe some lube, it should work just fine. Alrighty, what we need next is to set up another pulley in the middle of our new guide rack cables. And that's a little bit less than ideal. Nicer if we can get this closer to the wall here. This one's under load. It's really going to cause this to deflect this way, but we'll see how it works anyway, you know. Okay, now tensioning this is a bit of a pain in the butt, but I got some of these little U-lock nuts that came as part of the cable kit. You can buy these for pretty cheap. So I'm going to try to use this to basically lock this cable down under tension, and then do the same thing with this one. Now there is our loading pin, and that's gonna go here like that. Then we can put our weights here, and that is gonna be our system. I have a slightly better way of attaching this pulley. I'm gonna try shorten that swing distance. So I made this other hole here, put this bolt through here, and put those loopy thingies here, and hopefully that will shorten the extension of the cable and mounting point. So let's try that. Okay, now we're almost ready. Let's figure out the right length for our pulley cable, or ballpark it at least. So I'm going to set this all the way up. Which means when this is all the way up, this should be near all the way down. So this is approximately the length of cable that we'll need. So I'm just gonna make a loop here like this so I can connect this with a carabiner, and then we can test it out. Let's grab a carabiner. Okay, let's try it out without any weight. Running out of cable right around there. That's not great. I guess need a little more length. So I'm going to take this eye bolt, just going to feed it right here, so here, so we don't have to use the carabiner, just to give us maximum range of motion. Now let's move this all the way to the bottom. Let's see what our highest point needs to be. Let's put some weight on our loading pin. Attach it to our counterweight. And see what happens. Okay. Okay, 5 pounds of assistance on the system. Let's see how it goes. We're in our bottom pin there, so the height's about right. It's just touching. Let's go up. It's a little lighter now. So you need more weight on there. Yeah. We do need a little bit more length. Okay, so one snag we hit as part of our design is that there's not quite enough travel between here and here to accommodate for every position, so we run out of cable length. So there's a few ways we can try and address this. One, we need to create more space, so we need to somehow mount that pulley up higher and potentially mount those cables even lower just to get us a couple more inches of range. The other option is we can set this up as a 2-to-1 weight ratio, meaning instead of directly connecting the cable here, we would put a pulley here and attach this cable back up there. So that means the counterweight would only have to travel half of the distance of our trolley here in order to provide resistance for the whole range of the trolley, but that means we would have to double the weight. That means instead of loading 15 pounds, we would have to load 30 pounds onto our counterweight. Now, Amazon just delivered some more of these 2.5-inch plates for me here. Now, the diameter is a little bit larger than what I wanted, so it rubs the cables a little bit, but they are nice and flat. So that means I'll be able to cut this loading pin down so we can get some additional cable distance, which we had an issue with before. And hopefully that will allow us to be able to have the full range of motion up and down the whole tower without hitting the limits of this cable. And before we make any more changes, I just wanted to show you how this can now operate with one hand when we have 15 pounds loaded on the trolley. To wrap things up, this is obviously not the finished project, but I think it's a very successful proof of concept for how we can rig a counterweight to make our trolley system smoother and better. And maybe it gives you some ideas for ways you can apply some of these tricks to your own DIY projects. And the nice folks at GetRx'd, if you're watching, No hard feelings. I'm just poking a little bit of fun in this video. Now, I do think you have a good product overall, and I think with that additional 5 to 10% more innovation, you could take it from being a good product to being a great product. So I think you guys should really consider adding some kind of a counterweight to your heavy trolley systems to make it more accessible to people like my wife, who generally have trouble moving really heavy trolleys up and down, because these are functional trainers after all, and they're designed to be used by a wide variety of people who aren't necessarily interested in lifting a 55-pound trolley with dual tornado arms up and down. That being said, I also have some engineering advice for you, which I'll offer for free. So what I would do is put one more guide rod right here, and you can actually solve two problems at once. If you attach this guide rod to this bracket here, and then put the counterweight on it, you'll solve two problems with one solution. As you can see, this has a little bit of a cable twisting issue, and the lower this bracket sits, the more twisted they tend to get. So you could solve the cable twisting and the counterweight problem all at once by basically putting a guide rod with a little trolley on it to stabilize this cable bracket, as well as being a point where you can attach a counterweight. Now, obviously this would add more cost to the system, but I think if you were to offer this as, let's say, an option for an extra $200, I think you would be surprised how many people would be interested in that. So if you do choose to implement this, give me some credit and, maybe send me one for free. Alrighty, this video is starting to get a little bit too long, so I'm going to save some future refinements for the next video, where I'm probably going to replace this trolley with one that I cut out of wood, as well as a better way to attach the cables to these rods that we've set up, and generally make the system a little bit more refined and polished looking. And if I get lucky, maybe I'll find another donor machine and can actually set up proper uprights on guide rods and such. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as it really helps with the growth for small YouTubers like me. Thanks a lot for watching.
Finish him. Wins. Flawless victory.